What's up, everybody? Arnell here at Warcat Strength, and today we're kicking off our series on how we're gonna get you to your first powerlifting meet, okay? So, some initial thoughts. If you might be thinking, shit, do I need to max out all the time for powerlifting training? No. If you are thinking, do I need to do squat, bench, and deadlift all the time? No. If you're thinking, do I need to do zero cardio? Maybe, maybe not, right? That's gonna be up to you. So, at its simplest, powerlifting training is progressive overload. So what that means is that week to week, you're either putting on a little bit more weight on the bar or you're doing a little bit more reps, right? So meaning that you're just slowly trying to improve in different ways, right? So if you find yourself recovering faster, that's a sign of progress. If you find yourself doing more weight, that's progress. If you find yourself doing the same weight for more reps, that's progress, okay? So through progressive overload, that might be something that you're already doing, but the way that we're going to kind of use this strategy is we're going to use exercises that are going to be beneficial, like directly beneficial to squat, bench, and deadlift, okay? So not only do we want to progressively overload the squat, bench, deadlift, we want to get better at exercises like, let's say for the squat, high bar squats, or front squats, or lunges. We want to get better at those so that it can help our squat. For bench, we want to do close grip bench, or skull crushers, or overhead press, because doing that will help improve your bench. Now for the deadlift, you may want to do RDLs, or rack pulls, deficit deadlifts. Improving that will improve your deadlift. So that is kind of basically how you would structure a kind of beginner program for powerlifting, okay? So not only are you doing SBD, squat, bench, and deadlift, you are doing exercises for squat, bench, and deadlift. So by doing that, you're going to be building muscle, because you're not just doing a low amount of reps. You're gonna need to vary your sets and reps. Especially for the accessories, you're going to be needing to increase your reps so that you can build muscle through over time. And you're going to need to play with smaller rep sets because you want to develop some strength adaptations. So meaning that lowering the reps and increasing the intensity, the weights. So over time, your body is not only building muscle through the high reps, but through the heavier lower reps, you are kind of preparing your body to handle more and more weight as time goes on. So with all of that, you might be thinking, how often should I be training? So 3 to 6 days is kind of the go-to. And there's not really one kind of answer here. I recommend a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 6 so that you can at least get that 7th day of rest. But it's ultimately going to be up to you because, you know, everyone has different schedules, different needs, everyone recovers at different times, things of that nature, okay? So, you know, keeping in mind that, you know, now that you have your program and now you're going to kind of figure out how often you're going to be training, you need to take into account recovery because with your kind of progressive overload plan, it's not going to work like you're going to keep on getting stronger until you're like infinitely strong. You need to balance that out with, you know, overloading and kind of deloading, overloading, deloading, because the body doesn't handle weights, heavy weights every single fucking week. Your joints and your muscles don't work that way, right? So using good rest, you know, 6 to 8 hours. I know you're not fucking sleeping that much. Getting good nutrition, you know, stop eating fucking garbage. Those two things are going to help your recovery, and what's going to allow you to continue to overload and deload, overload, deload, overload, deload, right? You can't just fucking keep on loading unless you're fucking Superman or fucking Vince. If you're setting up a program yourself, if you're wondering how often should you squat, bench, or deadlift, off the bat, I recommend squatting about 1 to 2 days out of the week, 3 days if you can recover from that, benching about 2 to 3 days a week, deadlifting, I recommend about 1. If you can do 2, that's awesome, but you don't need a SBD every single day. But just keep in mind that if you're gonna train 3 days, you might need to do a little bit more accessories because you only have 3 days to train. Now, if you do 6 days of training, you gotta keep in mind that the accessories and the work that you do are not going to take away from the other days of training. You need to be smart with how you're going to manage your fatigue and stuff. The reason why you want to be smart with your fatigue is because you don't want to get too overworked or overtrained to the point where you get injured. Injury is where you fucking lose the game, okay? The name of the game is to stay safe and to progressively overload, okay? So If you are stupid and you get yourself fucking hurt in your knees and your back and your whatever, then you're out of the game, you lose. So I recommend, you know, getting a coach. I'm a coach. If you need some help, I'm here for you. But get some help, get some guidance if you don't know where to start out at, or how hard you should be going right out of the gates, right? Because if, you know, if you want to get to that meet, you need to prepare well. You need to be safe, you need to be knowledgeable about what you're doing and how you're doing it, and you need to have proper form. So getting yourself a coach is probably going to be the best investment that you do if you're going to get into this game, right? So if you need any help, I'm here. We'll see you next time, all right?